Hello, everyone. I want to start today's episode with a real life example of someone doing something brave from our community. Okay, this person is Seema Patil, and she is an amazing business coach for introverts. We've been connected online for many years now, and she has recently just launched her new podcast. It's called the Impactful Introvert Podcast, and I'm very excited. She has been a part of my podcast accountability group that I run for podcasters as well. And she had her idea, she had already gotten started. She came along to the group and got some help, and now she's gone off and launched. And yeah, it's just amazing to see that, and just want to use that as a story to inspire us all. Now, you can find Seema over on Instagram at Seema Patil, Seemapateel. I would personally love it if you would go and let her know, hey, I heard you on Tiffany's podcast, I heard about you, because I'm doing these little intros so that I can just feature more people and share more bravery stories. And I think some of these can be a little bit more relatable than perhaps the particular person I'm interviewing, or sometimes even some of my stories, and just can help give that feeling of actually we're all in this together. We are all doing brave things. And yeah, if you want to be featured like this, I would encourage you to join the Business Bravery with Tiff Facebook group, as that's a really great place for me to see what you're up to. And there might even be like a form or things that you can fill out in the future. But at the moment, I'm just picking people who interact and who tell me what they're up to and everything in the group. And come by, check it out. It's an amazing place to be. There's discussions happening that are not happening on the other platforms, even on the podcast, and people are connecting and getting to know each other and collaborating, as well as I'm doing lots of extra awesome tips and behind the scenes stuff and all of that goodness. So let's get into the episode, shall we? I'm your host, Tiffany Gilleland, an Australian business and mindset coach with 10 years' experience in online marketing and the creator of the Business Bravery Framework. I help coaches like you to be brave so you can stop dreaming and start doing that next big brave step and finally make more impact and get more clients. From speaking on camera to selling to launching, my approach to bravery helps you take bigger leaps without the mindset spirals. It's the secret ingredient to bigger results. This episode is a solo episode, and I'll be sharing my adventures and misadventures with Bravery Month in March, as well as how I deal with mindset blocks and working through that so I don't get as derailed. I can't wait to share with you my very current story of business bravery that I've been working through. Now, who's ready for some business bravery inspiration? Let's dive in. Okay, guys, I am very excited and also a little scared to be sharing some of what I have been going through in this last month with Bravery Month. And so I just want to talk about, like, this is Bravery Month as much as from the perspective of doing brave things as it is from the perspective of being more out there, and I guess kind of like, Bravery Month as kind of a launch, I suppose, as kind of like me getting out there, being more visible, connecting with more people and things like that, and some mental blocks that have come up. And these are mental blocks that have definitely kept me stuck in procrastination, overwhelm, and uncertainty. Yeah, uncertainty. Yes, the I don't know situation, right? And it's really kind of been something I've had to work through while I've been supposed to, like, promote Bravery Month and the masterclasses and things like that. And so I'll be sharing how I use my business bravery framework to move through this. These are the same tools that I teach in the Bravery Board Masterclasses, and I also use them to get unstuck for myself, and this is sort of part of the check-in process and getting back on track. So this is useful for anybody who's struggling with kind of consistency in any area. If you find yourself holding back on taking the big, bold actions that will move you forward, right? For example, committing to a niche, having conversations with people, creating the content, doing videos, getting on lives, running the masterclasses, some of those things. Maybe it could even be hiring people. The list goes on, but I'm talking about the big things that you know are like the needle movers and would be the 20% of actions that you can take in order to get the clients. So this is also useful for those of you who maybe, I'm looking at my notes. What was I talking about? Focusing on any and all tasks that would likely get you the business that you want. So, that's following on from those big, bold actions. That's that's what that meant. Okay, I'm here with some dot points. We're rolling with it. Okay, and this is also useful for anyone who's experienced the thoughts or feelings of not being enough, not doing enough, not being worthy of success. Also, probably fear of failure as well, along those lines. So the key takeaways for today is it's going to be around sort of spotting negative thoughts, understanding your own patterns with thoughts and procrastination, and yeah, also just like spotting thoughts that might not be serving you so well. Because I know a lot of you, if you've been listening and following me for a while, might be aware of some of the negative thoughts you have, but some of our other thoughts can seem very logical and not negative. They just might not be as useful to help us take action. So yeah, we're going to be looking at some of that, and then like also how to work through situations when your subconscious isn't on board and kind of what that looks like before and after. So yeah, that's all of the good stuff that we have for today. And before I dive in a bit more, I do just want to say that I did this outline about a week ago and I worked through this stuff, and I was actually struggling writing the outline. And then I worked through some of my actual process and reframed thoughts and really took a look at what was going on for me. And then that helped me to make some shifts. And then I had some health stuff come up. So while this has helped me to make some shifts, I don't want to pretend to you, like sometimes when you make these kinds of shifts, it's like you can bounce back and you've got all the energy in the world and everything like that. This bounce back has been kind of a slower bounce back. So I just want to tell you that sometimes it's just not always like, oh, and then, I had this great session and I turned it all around and now I'm right back. Like sometimes it's like that. Other times it might be a couple of days to get back on board. So yeah, that's where this is coming from. Now, if you are listening to today's episode and you want to know more about this approach and what I teach and everything, that's all available in the Bravery Board Masterclasses. The next round will be happening in June, and that's where I teach you the whole process of setting goals, like setting brave goals, which is different to SMART goals, brave goals, and then, doing a bit of planning and then working through the thoughts and the feelings and everything that come up while we're planning so that we can have a plan ahead of time. Because oftentimes while we're planning, we can be great dreamers and it's like, oh, awesome. But then oftentimes we can think that we're going to become this magical robot unicorn person. And I don't know what a magic robot unicorn would look like, but oftentimes for me, that person like never has a bad day, never procrastinates, and just does everything and, doesn't have any hormonal shifts or anything like that. And yeah, like that's not how life works. And and then we can sort of get stuck in the middle of the implementation. And so that's what this is all about, is working through that process. So like I said, the next round of that is happening in June, although there is a recording available from March that you can watch if you would like to. And yeah, just get in touch with me so that I can send you the details, and then you can actually work through the process and plan out your quarter that April, May, June, or depending on when you're listening to this, it could be any quarter. Just get in touch with me. Basically, I'm going to have a recording available in between times. I'll be running them live again in June so that we can plan out the next quarter. This is the plan. Depending on when you listen to this, that recording may or may not have a price attached. And yeah, just get in touch with me to find out what the current situation is on that. However, I'm sure it will be a low cost situation. So yeah, okay. Now, the other thing that you can do, though, if you wanted to talk to me, is book in for a Bravery Booster call. It is a 60-minute call, and it's basically coaching with me for 60 minutes, and we can unravel these things. I will tell you more about that as we go, but just to let you know that there is a way to get some help and work through this stuff as well. Okay, now let me talk to you about my situation. This is the before situation, and I will get you to the after, right? We're all coaches. We all know this is a transformation. Here's what I was going through, and I had this awesome idea for Bravery Month for the month of March, and the idea being that through Bravery Month, there was going to be 2 masterclasses per week, roughly. Not exactly every week because we're running into Easter, which came earlier than I had originally realized. So yes, we did two masterclasses a week, and that's for different, like it's the same masterclass repeated for different people, different times, different time zones, things like that. And I also started the Business Bravery Facebook group as another way of support. And yeah, and then as part of this situation, and I apologize for those of you who this is too much information, but basically, if you can just imagine that for whatever reason, my cycle is timed to the month, it seems quite well, in that like it didn't hit me until the end of the month, but the like my actual menstruation phase didn't hit me till the end of the month. I can't believe I'm putting this on a podcast. But this has an impact on the energy and what's going on as well, especially for me, because I've been having like irregular cycles and things like that. Anyway, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm sharing this. Anyway, we're sharing because it's part of the puzzle. It's part of the picture, especially of the energy and things like that. So if you're not familiar with like the energy of our cycles as women, for those of us who still, you know, menstruate. God. Okay, there is an awesome podcast that I did with Renata. I forget which episode number it is. I didn't plan to go into this. It's just as I'm talking and going through the dot points, I'm realizing this is part of the picture. And yeah, I think people need to understand this. But the basics is in like your first 2 weeks leading up to ovulation, you have a lot of energy and like everything's awesome and all that. In the second 2 weeks, it's often you can just be more tired. And like for me, even though I was getting 7 hours of sleep a night, that second 2 weeks I was tired, I was having brain fog, and I have some other issues that give me sort of extra fun symptoms. So that's part of what was going on. So just, yeah, spoiler alert, things went really well for the first 2 weeks of March for me, especially showing up and getting out there and doing all of this stuff. And then sort of in the middle of the month, I was struggling with my health. And I've written in these dot points because like when I did the outline last week, I didn't know like it's like you can't piece this all together all the time because I don't have a regular cycle. So it's like, oh, is this one of my health issues? Is this my cycle? And I won't know for a week until like things show up, and then it's like, oh, okay, that's what's happening. So, oh, that's what was happening. So, so much fun. I really enjoy like not knowing things in the moment and having all of the answers. I enjoy that so well, and that is sarcasm for anybody who's not picking up on my Australian accent with the sarcasm there. So yes, so much fun. So anyway, in the middle of the month, I'm not taking as much action as usual. I'm not posting or promoting the group daily as planned, or at least, 5 days out of 7. I wasn't sharing as much value, and I wasn't promoting the masterclasses as much. And yeah, like part of that, like, I mean, there's definitely energy levels and things like that is a piece of the puzzle, but I think another piece of the puzzle is my subconscious was trying to keep me safe in that situation. And I was having some thoughts that needed processing. But the first thing is like, hey, I'm not taking action. And for some of these things, it's like when I'm not taking action for a couple of days in a row, then it's like, okay, so what's going on, right? So something else, just for a little bit of context, this is a familiar pattern for me when going to the next level, right? And like while like my health is a factor, like I have chronic illness stuff going on, so I have to watch stress levels, especially during a launch. I'm pretty sure my subconscious was also at play through this part because there was a couple of times where I pushed through tiredness to show up on podcasts and my energy grew, even though like I felt tired, but then my energy grew. So there was a bit of that going on. Also, in that first 2 weeks, I was doing amazing things like in 1 week I had two podcasts where I was the guest on other people's podcasts and I did a masterclass in somebody's membership and like all of that in a week and then like my nervous system was also having trouble sort of calming down from all of that excitement as well. And yeah, and then I was having trouble sleeping. So it's just the pieces of the puzzle when we look at this. And this is why, as part of the process, it's like getting curious, being kind to ourselves. It's like, okay, what are the lessons I can learn here? What can I work on? What things are out of my control? Things like that. So some of the things like I've written here, here's kind of like my pre-flight self-care check-in. So before we get into, oh, okay, what's going on? Why aren't I taking action? I always kind of look at, all right, so have I eaten lately? Like, or, what am I eating? Have I missed a meal? Um, you know, have I, for me, I have found like if I miss a meal like the day before, then like, and like a snack or something like that, then the next day I notice I have less energy and things like that. Then I look at water, sleep, movement, basically food, water, sleep, movement. I want to check where I'm at with those things because for me, if I sort of shift the dial on some of those things, then that can certainly have me in more of a funk or, like not showing up as my best self as much and some of those things. So that kind of goes into this process for me, completely up to you if you want to take that or not. However, this is kind of my balance and self-care situation that I need to do, which helps keep my brain healthy and sharp and perhaps not gravitating to the negative as much. Like it's crazy how sometimes like just going for a 20-minute walk outside, and granted, like you're out in the sunshine, fresh air. For me, I live in a country town, so there's like plenty of nature and trees and things like that. All of that has an impact on how we feel and how we look at the world. And it's like sometimes that can be the shift. It's like I don't even need to do the thought work and the journaling and things like that. So yes. So we check on those things and go, okay, what could be contributing? What can I change? Then we get into the real step one. And what have I got here? Step two, step three. Oh, I have 3 steps. I think there might be a fourth step, but I didn't label it as step 4. So we kind of got, yeah, 3 to 4 steps. Gosh, I'm on fire here. I have a whole outline with dot points. And I'm just realizing like I could have named this the 4 steps to doing something or anyway, I will do that in a future episode. So now there's a bit of behind the scenes situation going on. Right. So step 1, meditation and visualization. So I find this is really valuable in calming my nervous system, especially when the subconscious is trying to keep me safe, when it's trying to keep any of us safe. A lot of times, like the stress levels and the nervous system can be out of whack. So this is where the breathing and that side of the meditation can really help. And then part of the visualization can be to connect with the visualization, like connect with connect with the visualization, connect with your future self, right? And really visualize how it looks and feels and what would I do differently? And then sort of doing some future focused journaling. And it's sort of like, what am I doing now versus my best self? And like, this is something that I teach in the Bravery Board Masterclasses for the, planning and all that. And like, this is also a tool that I use during the check-in process, or if I find that I'm stuck and I'm not taking action. Like, these tools that, like, I teach them in this framework of planning, but they're actually tools that you could use on a daily basis if you needed to, or weekly basis, or as required for different things. So I sat down and did this little thing where it's like, we've got two columns and we've got who am I being now and who is my best self on the right hand side. So, and we do this with kindness and compassion, right? So I've written on the now side, it's like, okay, I've found groups to post in without posting, right? I've been sharing the bare minimum on stories, which is often how I work through when I'm having low energy or I'm having issues with my health. I have a system where it's like, okay, so I'll just share a post. I might not get on camera and things like that. I really want people to connect with me when I'm feeling good and that kind of thing. But then sometimes, like, even like today, not necessarily feeling my best self. However, like, I am feeling good and able to communicate and things like that. So the other things in the now column is like, I'm choosing to stay in low vibe energy. And yeah, that's and I say that like with love and kindness. It's just, I was definitely in a funk and wasn't necessarily wanting to, like, even just writing that, it's like, oh yeah, actually maybe this is something I can work on. And this is something that happens to me when I get into that low vibe energy, just like that feeling of being in a funk or just not feeling as motivated and things like that. And like I said, sometimes that's about the self-care things that are out of whack. And sometimes that, like, and oftentimes it's because I've been working too hard. Sometimes it's the chronic illness. Other times it's because I have some kind of thought that's like has me demotivated that I can shift out of. So, um, and something else I put in the now column is that I was very focused on what was wrong in my body as opposed to perhaps like looking for evidence of what's okay, what's right, and sort of having like shifting things. So I know this is really interesting with this kind of work. I don't want to come across as toxic positivity and we've got to shift out of things quickly. Like, sometimes you just need to feel your feelings. You're having a bad day, you need to feel those feelings and still take what actions you can to honor either your health and your business. But like, sometimes like I kind of yeah. It's finding that level of, I don't want to be like, oh, you shouldn't be having a bad day. You got to shift out of it. Here's the bravery system. It's it's like, here's the system that we have that we can move through. But sometimes part of life is having these emotions and being able to just process them and deal with them and things like that. So on the best self side, it's like, okay, here's what I'd be doing if I was showing up as my best self right now. I'd be sharing daily in groups. I'd be sharing daily in stories about bravery and Bravery Month. I'd be embodying bravery daily. I'd shift in and out of brave energy as needed. And that's something that I am working on again, right? And I will explain that a little bit more. Then there's less focus on what's wrong and asking myself, what can I do to keep the momentum up? But it might be momentum, like sometimes keeping up the momentum when you're in high energy and your body's working and everything like that, and you've had all the sleep and all the good stuff. Like, keeping up the momentum could be, oh yeah, I show up for 30 minutes on a live and I do this and I do that and all that good stuff. sometimes keeping up the momentum when I'm in like low energy and my body's perhaps feeling like, it's going through chronic pain or something like that. Sometimes that momentum is like, hey, I'm here for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes. Here's what I can do. And as much as that frustrates part of me, that's just part of what I have to do in order to manage my energy. So my best self, I'd be having more conversations, and I definitely worked on that once I worked through this. And I'd show up in the energy of having 100 people in the group. Okay. So yeah, and just for openness sake, I don't have 100 people in the group right now, my Facebook group. However, like it's showing up as if I do. I think that can just be really useful and just helpful and just allow us to show up like as if it's all happening. It's like, who would I be? What would I be doing? And just allowing that to attract people to us. Okay, so that's what I did between the now and the best self. And it was just like eye-opening to go through that process. Yeah. So the next step in this process is setting the scene, is what I've called it. And this is where we write out the facts without emotion. So here's what was going on. I haven't been posting in groups. This was like a week or so ago in the middle of the month. I haven't shared bonus tips in the group for 3 days. And I haven't posted on stories in days. I didn't write how many days. So probably in 3 days as well, I'll bet. It would have been 3 or 4 days. Okay. So now we go deeper, and we go deeper with curiosity, compassion, and kindness to ourselves, right? This is not about going, oh, you should be doing more. And oh man, I didn't post in groups again. So this is about because like when you go down that kind of dark path, or not dark path, but when you go down that road of trying to motivate yourself by being mean to yourself, it has the opposite effect. Right? For like it maybe motivates us for a short amount of time, but it doesn't lead to long-lasting behavior change or long-lasting like thought changes and shifts in thoughts, beliefs, and perspective. So it can be a lot kinder to like reframe some of these things and just sort of go, oh yeah, I haven't posted this for a few days. So then it's about step 3 is about going deeper. Like, what thoughts am I having about this? What am I making this mean? What beliefs are behind this? Okay. So this is a lot of fun on the journaling side. So, yeah. So some of the examples that I had, some of the thoughts that were going on for me is it's too much. I'm stuck. I'm too tired. I'm not doing enough. My and this next one, please don't. I mean, you might judge me on this, but I'm going to share this because like this is, gosh, this is what we all go through. But I recognize in the context of me sharing a podcast and things like that, and that kind of thing. But it's like, oh, my group isn't big enough, like, and yeah, I'm so grateful for the amazing people who have joined the Facebook group. And the only reason that this is an issue for me is because of the Facebook algorithm. And, like I wanted it to be a place for people to connect. However, because there's not that many people and not necessarily like we've gotten some good engagement, but the engagement has been between me and everyone else. And I need to create more of that engagement between other people, doing the best I can in amongst Facebook and the way it sends out notifications and things in groups and some of that stuff. So for me, like it's not about the numbers and it's like, oh, only big numbers, but there was definitely some thoughts about, oh, like, it's embarrassing. People are going to see that it's quiet in there and things like that. Like, and I'm sharing this because, like, I really don't think that this is just me in this situation, right? I think we can all get in our heads around the numbers, right? And it's like, oh, that's embarrassing. Uh, and that's not even true, right? Like, people have seen how many people are in there, they're still joining. It's like, it's amazing. And yeah, I'm going to show up and do all of that stuff. But it was just really interesting to be like, oh wow, yeah, that is interesting how that thought is holding me back, right? Now, here's another fun one, and I've just got two more of these thoughts that I had. Another fun one was, I don't deserve results because I haven't done the right actions. So, and in brackets, it's like, I haven't been perfect, therefore, like, people are going to know that, right? And this is one of those fun ones that has definitely derailed me many times. And yeah, like, yeah, and this is where, like, even now it's like I'm starting to think along these lines as I share this, just because it's like, oh, I'm sharing the imperfectness of me being brave. And part of me wants to hide away from that. But I mean, this is just understanding. Like I said, this is all understanding our own thoughts, our own like what we do, our own repeating patterns, so that we can work through them, right? And another one of my thoughts was, I was stressed about these bravery booster emails. So this may or may not make you laugh, it might resonate, but on the group sign up for the Business Bravery Facebook group, one of the questions is, oh, hey, if you want these bravery booster emails, do you want some bravery booster emails? If so, leave your email address. And so far, like, just about everybody has signed up for that. And then it's like, the thing is that, like, I have this vague idea about what it could be, but then I started overthinking it. And then it's like, oh, I need to do these emails and things. And like, it's something that I threw in at the last minute. And then, like, as part of my content process, I don't have emails to send, things like that. And then I've got to find the time, and just, yeah, that was also a bit, but so that was part of that. And another one was like, I don't deserve results because I haven't done the right actions. And it's like, it's kind of like, I felt like I didn't deserve signups to my masterclass because I hadn't posted in every group every single day. And the thing is like, I posted in groups early on, and like, my posts, like, a couple of them got deleted by moderators. Another one of them, like, it went out, and it was like the same post that I posted last time. But like, last time in December, I had like 15, 20 people flock to that post, and this time I had zero. And because that's part of the problem with posting in Facebook groups, is like, you can't control when the moderator is going to post the post. And so if they post it at a time that works for them or something, and then, yes, so but the blame on me as well is that, like, I did change one thing, and I added in an image, and because I added in the image, the text truncated at the top. So all it had, like, the text was, oh, I'm testing out, oh, I'm running another round of Bravery Board Masterclasses. What the lead-in text needed to be was, do you have a plan for quarter 2 yet? Here's a solution, right? So yes. And then I got in my head about getting, reposting, because I to that group, and just, as I'm talking it out now, I am realizing just like how much my brain was creating all of this drama around it, and it didn't need to be that dramatic. And it's like, yeah, this is where I probably needed to be doing just a bit more journaling and realizing that. But sometimes we verbally process. This is why half of us as coaches might be coaches, or why, like, our clients come to us, because as much as like journaling and writing things down can help, sometimes when we talk it out, we just access this other part of our brain, and it's like, oh wow, hey, when I say that out loud, that sounds crazy. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that I was thinking about that. So yes. some fun things about that. And some of this can be the subconscious as well, like trying to keep me safe. Like I was doing a lot of things where I was showing up and being this amazing new version of myself. And yeah, and then I know like my subconscious gets very freaked out about that. And it always comes for me with the whole, this is going to cause you to be sick, right? If you use too much energy, then you're going to get sick. And it worries about that stuff. So stuff for me to sort out. Reframes and new actions based on those thoughts. So some of my reframes were, and I've got 3 of them, so I won't bore you to death, but one of them is it's possible that I can show up today, right? The one of these things that I love, it's possible because it doesn't matter if I failed every other day before this, it's possible that I can show up today. I can generate new energy and embody and attract as if nothing has happened. And that's that whole, oh, I haven't been perfect. Like I do this to myself a lot. I haven't been perfect. I haven't done everything perfectly in the last week, especially when I'm in a launch. And therefore, it's like as if people are going to know that. And then it gets in my head and I show up with this energy of like, oh no, people are going to know, and then they're not going to sign up and things like that. So then this is about being kind to myself and just going, you know what, we can start today as if nothing has happened. The same as if you're like trying to create some sort of approach to, the gym and working out. I used to do this with exercise too. It was like, oh, I wouldn't deserve to lose weight because I missed a week of exercise or something, even though for the next 3 weeks I stayed on track or something like that. It's like somehow my body would know that I missed 3 days or something, and I wasn't perfect, therefore I didn't deserve to lose weight. And then that's when like the brain can make that thought and belief true. And then that's when you end up sabotaging yourself and eating the pizza and going, oh, well, I messed it up anyway. It's like that whole black and white thinking, right? So it's the same with launching. So yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't do the launch perfectly. So therefore, oh, well, then, so therefore nobody's going to sign up. So it doesn't matter. So I can just stop showing up. Whereas when it comes to launching and promoting things and that kind of thing, it's most people sign up at the end, and you need to show up with the energy of just like expecting people to sign up at the end, or on the day the bonuses are coming out or something like that, or the day before the price rise and stuff. So another reframe is it's possible that I can embody bravery even while feeling unwell, right? So then I did kind of like this future journaling of like, oh, it's March 31 and I'm so excited. I finished the launch strong and all of that good stuff. I've grown the group, and I put in numbers here. I'm set up to sign 4 clients and my group grew to 50 people and all of that stuff. Although I have to say that I probably needed to revisit this a couple more times, because I think while this helped me on that day, then I think I woke up the next day, was feeling tired and just having all of that stuff. And yeah, so just I didn't finish the month as strong as I would have liked. However, I have done a number of bravery booster calls with people. So in that way, I really did finish like being me and being the version of me that I wanted to be. And, like I've done a lot of coffee chats and things like that. So on that side of things, I just perhaps haven't done it in terms of, and like I've got a couple of people who are looking to sign up. So yeah. Still, today is another day, we can turn it all around. So, um, but yes, definitely something I'm working on is that whole being able, like finding out what embodying bravery looks like, even when I feel unwell. So, and I have done this in the past. I think I allowed myself to kind of get sucked into some of that stuff. So, all right. And then, um, another reframe around the group is just like, it's possible that my group is amazing. it's mighty and strong. We're connected. It's giving people help, support, and connections. It's amazing. Even as I say those words out loud, it's like there are things that I can do to, help support that thought and that belief and that way of operating, just in some of the things that I can do. So, and I just want to say again, like, I'm grateful for everybody who is in that group, and it is going to grow, and like it is growing. People are joining every week, especially if I put out more invites and tell people about it. People will join every week. Do you see how this becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy? So yes, this is how our brains can really take us off course. And yes, some things that I'm working on. So what this feels like afterwards, like once you get the right kind of thought shift and the right reframe, like the pressure gets lifted off your shoulders. Okay. So like instead of this weight on my shoulders, like everything feels lighter, and then it's like easier to take action. And it's like I can breathe freely and be me and be my best self. And the other thing is like I stop overthinking and worrying about things and stop with the indecisiveness. Like there's a real reason why I talk about procrastination, overwhelm, uncertainty. Like those three can sometimes just work together in concert of like, because you start putting off the thing and then you're aware that you put it off. And then from being aware of having put it off, then all of a sudden you then start getting like, it makes it really hard to make decisions, and then you feel overwhelmed. So how can you possibly make a decision about, and you feel overwhelmed? Like even just that email situation or the posting in groups and things like that. So once I worked through this process, right, the actions that I took after is like, I actually wrote this podcast outline in 20 minutes. Okay. I then posted a live in the group about self-sabotage. I love doing what I do, and I can share all of the messiness. And then and then I posted on stories, and I did some video posts on stories. And then, like I said, after that, I had some health stuff come up. So it's like I've been taking small actions each day so that I can keep moving forwards and keep the momentum up, although I haven't been doing as much video stuff and things like that. I think perhaps I should have recorded this podcast earlier than a week ago. However, I had a lot of calls and podcast recordings and things like that. So yeah, because there's just a lot of I don't know, like therapy in, and just like actually talking it out. Like I said, sometimes it just comes from a different place in my brain, and it's like when I say the words out loud, it's like, oh wow, actually, you know what? It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be that difficult. And it just can be cathartic. And, another part of my brain hears me say it and just goes, okay, yep, you know what? Yeah, actually, it doesn't need to be that hard. So let me, just let me recap the 3 steps very quickly. So the first up, like the first thing is realizing that, oh, I'm not taking action. Okay. And it's like, oh, and I haven't been taking action for a few days. So then sort of before step 1, like the pre-flight self-care check-in is like, okay, food, water, sleep, movement, right? Where are we at with those 4 things? What can I adjust? What could be contributing to this? Then it's getting into step 1, doing the meditation and visualization. The meditation calms your nervous system, and the visualization allows you to sort of like step into the realm of possibility of who you could be in as your best self. And it also helps your subconscious and your just who you are inside to really feel like it's already happened, so you don't have to fear it as much. Okay. Then I sit down with doing the now versus the best self in the 2 columns. And it's like, what am I doing now? In a kind and compassionate way. And what am I doing? Like, what would my best self be doing? Or even like my better self, for those of you who are a bit like me, who might be a bit perfectionistic. So yes, and just sort of getting real about what that could look like. And then it's like, then we set the scene, we write out the facts without emotion, what's been going on, and then we go deeper with curiosity. It's like, what thoughts am I having about this? What am I making this mean? What beliefs are behind this? And just look at the thoughts and then look at how we can reframe and some new actions we can take. In my process, it's like we kind of look at like lessons learned and what are the new thoughts that we can take forward. And yes, and then it becomes a process of like not just doing this on day one. Like sometimes you can do it on day one and you're like, yeah, I'm good. And then you start taking action again and you're good. But then it can be like day two, checking in with yourself and say, okay, where are we at? Do we need to look at the new thoughts and just really help us take more actions and things like that. So, and you know that you've gotten there when like you can feel the pressure has lifted a little bit, and when you're like able, like it's easier to start taking action, and you can feel like decisions are easier to make and some of these things, and you can start to see that process. So the recap of the key takeaways is that like today's episode has been about sort of spotting the negative thoughts or thoughts that perhaps aren't helping us as much to take action, right? And then understanding our own patterns with thoughts and procrastination. And for me, it's understanding this pattern that I have when I'm trying to take things to a new level, and not being mad at myself for like, pulling back from things for a couple of weeks. And sort of, it's also going to be looking at that whole, like my menstrual cycle and how that's affecting things as well. Just being like, actually, okay, so let's see, maybe I need to come up with a new system of like, cool, all right, we do things for a couple of weeks when we're feeling good, and then when we're not feeling good, we have some other things in place for that kind of thing. So if you have been listening to this so far, like this is the stuff that I help my clients do, okay? And if you want to book in one of those 60-minute bravery booster calls, that is not a sales call, that is a coaching call with me. And what we do is we look at what's going on in your business, what your goals might be, and then sort of depending on who you are and things, like some people know the thoughts and things that they want to work on and work through, and other times we look at like what's going on in the real world and then find the thoughts through that and just see what's stopping you from getting to those goals. And you come out of it with a plan to move ahead of like, okay, all right, we've worked on a couple of things and now I have a plan moving forward for what I'm going to do when that thought comes up, right? For example, I did one of these calls just this morning, and the very amazing person in that call, we worked on some thoughts that she had coming up about being a coach, right? And yeah, like as we worked through it, because like she'd had some people who had told her, oh, don't call yourself a coach, and they were very strong about it. And she was like, oh, and I'm like, well, what's your answer? What's your take on this? And things like that. Because yeah, like what you believe, you create. And so then it's like, if you believe that you shouldn't call yourself a coach and you go out with that mindset and do all that, like that will work for you. But if you believe that you should call yourself a coach and you like fully believe in it and everything, and you go out, then, you'll create clients from that place. And both of them work. So then it becomes, all right, what do you want to believe about yourself? And then part of it was, she was like, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to create myself some images and visions of me, because like she's been coaching since she was like way back in school and was doing like sports type coaching. She's always wanted to be a coach. She's always coached people. So it's just like, yes, this is the stuff we need to know now. Like one of her new thoughts was like, coaching is in my DNA. And I know she listens to this podcast, so I hope it's okay that I share this. I'm not giving away names or anything like that, but I just think that that's like a really valuable story to like help people and to inspire others to just go, oh, actually, you know what, like finding those new thoughts that can help you so that you can take action. Right? And also to help you in these situations when your subconscious isn't on board, and how we work through that. So if you're interested, contact me about booking in one of those bravery booster calls. They are so valuable, right? And so amazing. And yeah, like just get in touch and I will let you know how to book that in. And yeah, all good. All right. So thank you so much for listening. If you want to get in touch with me, you can find me over at Tiffany G Studios on Instagram, and you can message me to get links for calls and things like that, or get the link to the Facebook group. And or you can come find us over at the Facebook group at Business Bravery with Tiff. It is an amazing connected group. Although I feel a little awkward because I've been like having thoughts about it, but that's not necessarily how it's been. It's been a lot of fun and amazing over there. And like I said, I'm sharing things over there that I am not sharing anywhere else. And, you know, like little behind the scenes, or hey, I've realized this or that. And I was talking about this with someone, and just there's so much goodness that is definitely worth checking in. And the idea is to get people connecting and collaborating with each other and all of that good stuff too. All right. Thank you so much for listening. That's it from me. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to the Business Bravery podcast. Has this episode inspired you to do something brave? Even if it's only send a difficult email, please share it with me on Instagram or other social media channels. Feel free to tag me at Tiffany G Studios. That's TIFFANY. G for golf, STUDIOS, no spaces, no underscores, etc. Or you can use the hashtag Business Bravery Podcast so that I can cheer you on, and together we can inspire other coaches and course creators to do brave things in their business and life. Now, I'm Tiffany, and I'll leave you with this one last thing. What's one brave thing you're going to do today? It doesn't have to be big. Even the smallest steps can create the most massive results. So again, feel free to share it with me either publicly or privately so that I can cheer you on. That's it from me. Until next time, bye for now.